Hey, good morning again. I'm super excited to be here. And this is just a lovely weather out here. And I'm more even so super excited because I have you, Nma Emeh, with me today. It's lovely to see you. You look great. You look fabulous. How are
Oh,
you
you
doing?
too. I'm fine. Thank you. Aya, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so excited to be a part of this, your live and all that you're doing. I love how you're working with teens and moms and what you're doing to build up their self-confidence and make them a more sure of themselves. So I'm honored to be here today. And so let's do this.
Same here. Let's do it. So everybody out there, thank you for joining me today. Today we are talking about self-confidence, body image, and how to thrive and be yourself. My name is Dr. Ayo Adenuga. I'm the host and founder for Action for Teens and Mom's Health. And as you know, we help moms and teenagers to thrive. We help you to be the best version of yourself. We remove the overwhelm of adolescents and help you to lead with confidence and take actions that are really impactful to your life. So welcome again. And I would like to introduce a fabulous person. Again, if you are just joining us, that is Nma Emeh. She's a body image consultant, she's a stylist, she's a speaker. She's the founder and CEO of EE Consulting. And I would not be able to do so much justice to who you are because you've done so much across board. So can you let us know who you are? Please introduce yourself and everybody just listen. You'll be wowed with what you're going to hear. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You did so well. I don't know what you're talking about, but anyway, thank you. Like I said, I'm honored to be here. My name is Nma Emeh. I am a body image consultant, passionate about generating awareness about body image and how it impacts us as a society, especially women. I do have a background in finance and operations, so that was in a past life. So I'm a transformed finance and operations professional, now a body image consultant. And I truly believe that that's my passion and my calling. And I am just happy that I found it soon enough. And so I'm ready to share my experience and thoughts with you. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And that speaks to who we are. We're able to leverage our discipline, our learnings, our experiences, and even channel it to other aspects of our lives and just
Absolutely
improve the lives of people. So I'm just so happy to have you here. So the first thing I would want to ask now is, tell us about your journey. You were doing finance and now you're body image consultant, you're a speaker, you have different outfits. In fact, you are a multi-entrepreneur across different segments. So what brought you here? What led you through this journey? Can you share with us, please?
Yeah, like I said, I spent years in working in corporate and I enjoyed my time working in corporate. But prior to that, I know that I felt like my body was always a topic of discussion. I was born over 10 pounds. I was a big baby. I was that big baby that the doctor even told my mom, this is it. This is your last one, that this one almost killed you. So, and from that moment on, I just felt like my body was always a topic of discussion. In some ways good, and some ways, I didn't always appreciate it. The first 10 years of my life, I felt like I looked very different from my siblings, you know. And as my body started to evolve, like my siblings, I come from a family of seven, six girls and one boy. And my sisters are all tall and model-esque. And even though I'm 5'9", was not as slender as they all were. And then just growing up, I always
It's pretty
wondered,
tall.
like, what? Yeah, 5'9" is good, but when you have a sister that's 6'2",
Oh
6'1",
my goodness.
yes. So I felt like the short one. I felt like my body was very different from theirs, and slowly started to think, oh, well, why do I look so different from my siblings? What is there something wrong? Is there something amiss? And that was pretty much the first 10 years of my life. And then I went to boarding school. Oh my goodness. And I grew up in Nigeria. And in boarding school in Nigeria, that is one place. If you ever want to know the truth about yourself, they will tell you. Aya and I come from a culture where there are no filters. People just speak their mind, good or bad. And that was a big transition for me, and some of my insecurities I felt were compounded in that very delicate stage of life, where your body is changing because you're turning into a teenager, and then there are the hormones all over the place, and I looked more voluptuous than my sisters, and so it seemed like I attracted more attention to myself than I cared to have, and that all started to create its own beast at the time.
And many
then
teenagers share what you're talking about right now. I can see that for sure. Please.
I mean, it's true, but the good thing about it is that I learned, and in my adulthood, even when I worked in corporate, I dealt with the same thing. This was before the whole Me Too movement. I had my own challenges, but the pandemic, my aha moment was the pandemic, and just realizing that there's so much more to me than my appearance. And when I sat down and I looked at, okay, what has been that consistent theme in my life? And I realized, oh, it's been my body. Well, I want to make a change. I want to empower women. I want to empower young girls, that there's so much more to them than their physical appearance. And so that began, the rest is history. That was the beginning of my journey.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And like I said before, we have so many people, even along their lifetime, because of changing body forms, they adopt different mindsets about who they are.
Yes.
Teenage life, like you said, boarding school, you had it, for you, they'll tell you what you are, who you are, even if you are not, they'll modify
exactly.
Yep. Then you have when you become a teenager, when you're now starting relationships, you not being so confident about who you are. Then when you get into marriage, start having children, then along the line, when you start hitting your early mid-30s, late 30s, early 40s, another thing entirely. So I'm so happy to have you here, because your message, your experiences actually aligns with what everybody is going through. I had my own, I shared it in the last video I had, throughout my life. And these are the things that feeds into why we're able to help other people. So thank you so much for sharing that. I really do appreciate it. Now, the next thing is exactly what is even this body image? Can you talk to us about body image, self-worth? What is it about?
Okay. Well, let's start with the definition. Body image refers to the perception a person has about their physical appearance and the thoughts and feelings that ensue as a result of that perception. It could be a positive perception of yourself. It could be a negative perception of yourself. Ideally, we want to move from the negative to the more positive perception of ourselves. Now, the other thing about body image is that it is a complex, multi-dimensional construct, in that it encompasses more than just your physical appearance, but it also includes, like you said, your self-confidence, your self-esteem. It impacts a lot of aspects of our life that some of us may not always be aware of. So it's a pretty important issue, and hence why I trying to generate awareness and make it part of the corporate wellness program for people, and either in school or in the corporate world. But it really should be a program that is incorporated to really help people develop themselves. So now the other thing is that people may not know is that body image is one of the leading causes of social and mental conditions like eating disorders, anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, low self-confidence. And so from that perspective, it does impact our mental health and well-being. So it's something that we need to pay attention to. And I think with the pandemic, it made things even worse, with people just being stuck in the house and not having that opportunity to see other people, to interact. And then some of us gained a lot of weight, then some of us lost a lot of weight.
Tell me.
It was all over the place, but I think the pandemic made things worse.
Yeah,
And I think this is time to really bring it to the forefront and start to address it.
yeah, absolutely. I can't agree with you more about the importance of body image and the way it actually affects so many other parts of our lives, our mental health, social disorders, physical disorders, your ability to even succeed in life, your career, the way you will not show up as who you are made to be, and you're just always at the background, missed opportunities as well, just because you don't just have that right perception about yourself. So that's why everybody out there, that's why this talk, it's so, so important, because when people hear about body image, they're like, oh, body image, is it just about modeling? Is it just about my body? It's both your body and your mind, and the way it affects every area of your life. Every area of your life, the wheel of life, it affects everything. So thank you. And it underscores the importance of why you are here. Now, can you tell us, what are the misconceptions people have about their bodies, about their self-worth, about who they are? Can you tell us about the common misconceptions that through your practice, your consultation, the people you've spoken to, your experiences, what are those misconceptions that people do have that we need to debunk?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. And I have a good answer. There are a lot of misconceptions about body image out there. One of the biggest misconceptions is that it only affects women. Body image is no respecter of persons.
Yeah.
It impacts both men and women. According to a study that was done by Ipsos, I believe it was, in sometime in 2018, 2019, it said over 80% of Americans over the age of 18 have expressed some form of dissatisfaction with their body. 83% of that population being women and 78% being men.
Wow.
So it's almost neck and neck. Yes. Yeah. Men have their own insecurities. They are insecure or they have their own body image limiting beliefs, usually around, are they muscular enough? Are they
tell me.
Are they tall enough? And
let me stop you right there. My son, there was a time he will be gymming every day, building muscle, carrying. I was like, what is this about? I said, well, I want to increase my. I was like, you are good enough. I said, Mommy, that's in your eyes. My face, I have pimples here, I have pimples there. I need to use this skin treatment. So you are so right. While everybody's like, oh, your son is so handsome, my son is like, no, I need to build this. I need to be at the gym. I need to be at the pool. I show my 6 packs. I was like, what 6 packs? So you are so super right that it affects both male and female. Thank you. Please go on.
So that, to me, that's the biggest misconception.
Yeah.
Another misconception is that people think it's just a thing of vanity. That it's all about looking good, and it's not a major issue. But like I said earlier, it's a serious. It impacts our mental health. It's if gone unchecked, it can lead to other mental health conditions, like I said, anxiety and depression. So it's not just a thing of vanity. It's a thing about our mental health, because the thing about body image, it really all starts with the mindset. It's what you tell yourself. And if every day you look at yourself in the mirror and you're telling yourself, you're feeding your mind negative thoughts, negative feelings, guess what? Over time, that's going to weigh on you, and then it's going to lead to other or more difficult medical conditions, again, like anxiety, depression, eating disorders. So that's a big misconception. It's more than just it's more than just saying I don't feel good about myself. It actually does impact some people's mental health. Another misconception is that people think that body image is or having a negative body image is a choice. There are people where they can't control it. It's not a choice that anyone intentionally makes. It just happens either because of what society has told them, the media, either because of family or friendships. So that's a big misconception too, that negative body image is a choice that a person makes. Another big one is that the body image only impacts thin people, or only fat people, or it only has to do with weight. All of that in there. Body image is not just about how heavy or how skinny or fat you are. It could be, I've met people who their image insecurities are about their hair.
Yep.
Their image insecurities about their skin, their nose. I don't like the way my mouth is shaped. I don't like the fact that I'm voluptuous. Yep. I don't like the way my arms are. It could be any aspect of your body. Body image is basically any aspect of your body that you feel dissatisfied with, and it is affecting or impacting your daily routine and your ability to succeed in your career.
I agree with you. Yesterday, let me tell you a life story. Yesterday, my daughter wanted to make her hair. She didn't get around to doing it, so she left her hair the afro on. I was like, oh, I wish I had the white people's hair. It's so long, they'll just pack it. I was like, white people have their own hair issues as well. I'm like, oh, Mom, I wish my hair was so straight and not so coily. I was like, you are blessed to have a full coily hair. But at the point when she tried to walk it, it was not going well. She was like, Mom, I don't want to go to school today. I was like, why not? She said, oh, my hair. I was like, you're going to school. I pulled out my African mom, like, you don't want to go to school because of your hair? You have to go to school. I'm like, I'm not going to pack it. But you could imagine how the way she saw herself in the morning, my hair is in places. I don't feel I look good. I don't look good. I don't feel good. I don't want to be out there. So you can imagine if I didn't address her and her mindset. I'm like, you need to go to school and talk to her. She would have missed out school. She came back being happy, everything. I said, so what changed? She was like, oh, I just saw one or two of my friends the same hair. My friends made me happy. I liked what I did in school. And so I was like, so you could imagine if the way you saw yourself in the morning determined how your day went. So you are just on point to say, both children, adults, sometimes even the way we see ourselves affects our success for the day, for our career and everything. And it's not about weight. It could just be even your skin tone, your hair. So thanks for mentioning that. That's a true life story of yesterday.
Yes, exactly. You know, I incidentally, I had the same issue with my daughter last week. I didn't get a chance to do her hair last week, and and she had to go to school like that. And I told her, just wear it down. And she initially was pushing back. I'm like, I don't have the time. I can't do it right now. So she went to school with her hair down, and it's a similar thing. She has a big fro. She has a lot of hair. This girl came back home smiling from ear to ear. I was like, how did it go? She's like, I got so many compliments. And Mama, if some boys were just staring at me. Like, oh. Then she goes on to say, and it felt good. I felt good.
Yeah.
Exactly. You have to embrace your hair in all its forms, and which is something that I remind people. You have to embrace every aspect of yourself, of your body in all its forms. If your hair is curly, embrace the fact that those curls have a certain pattern that is unique to just you. If your hair is straight, embrace the fact that your hair is straight and it can lay in a certain way that some of us, our own hair just cannot lay. If you have red hair, embrace the fact that you can stand out in a crowd. And I just love when I see people with red hair, like, just striking, naturally red hair, obviously, very striking. But a lot of people with red hair, they do have some insecurities about that too. So yeah, it's about embracing every aspect of your body in totality and accepting it and making it work well for you.
Yeah, thank you. So we mentioned key misconceptions that people had. The first thing is it affects both male and female equally. It's not just female. Second is it can lead to a variety of things like mental health, anxiety, depression. And it's not about vanity. It's about your total health and well-being. Third, we mentioned having a body image is sometimes not a choice. It's not something I say, I want to have a good body image. It's been impacted by various factors. It's multifactorial. Your background, your environment, the way you grew up, your body form, your skin, everything, determines the eventual choice to make. And you have to be deliberate about it. Then body image is not about weight alone. It's about your hair, your internal being, your mental state, even knowledge academically, your IQ. You can say, oh, I'm not brilliant, so, but some people do have that. I've seen some people that, it's stories of a person that had, Jim Quick, he shared a story whereby he had an accident as a child. And because of that, they thought it was dumb until he started learning so well that now he's the brain expert, because he was able to overcome that naming they gave him because of the situation. You are not smart enough, So you're so right about that. Now, I think it's even taking us to the next question. What are the challenges people have concerning their body image, who they are, their self-worth, and what can we do to help the young women out there, the middle women out there, the teenagers out there with their body images and the challenges that they've had? So that is two questions in one.
Wow, that's a fully loaded question. All right, so let's see, we still have a lot of time. In terms of challenges, I would say, at least from my experience and clients that I've worked with, society puts a lot of expectations on, especially women. If you look at the media out there, what they portray in terms of what they consider the ideal beauty standards, which I don't know what the percentage is, but I can tell you probably less than 5% of people can meet those beauty standards. So those society expectations, it creates a challenge, and it leads to more image insecurities, especially with women, but even more so our young girls, because they're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, and they're seeing all these beauty standards, and they may not understand at the time, that there are all these filters on there. And so what they're seeing is not reality. And that becomes a big challenge for our youth. Like, how do you protect their minds? Where do you even begin to encourage them to not consider that as the ideal? Like, they should accept themselves as who they are. And that, God didn't make a mistake. He created each and every one of us unique in his own way, in his own image. So again, like I said, society expectation. Another thing is self-doubt. A lot of our girls are walking around, with very little confidence in themselves. Again, I think it's because of what they see in the media. And what they read. And so instead of building them up, it's kind of tearing them down. We're sending the wrong messages, and they're beginning to doubt themselves. Also, the relationships that they keep, I feel like the kids these days are facing more challenges in terms of relationships. And coming out of the pandemic, I've heard a lot of teachers talk about how it's difficult to interact with these kids because they've forgotten how to socialize with one another. And so what used to be comments that would come from a place of love are now coming from a place of hatred or just lack of socialization. And so that feeds into that self-doubt and low self-esteem. Another big thing is lack of representation. Oh my goodness. My children have experienced that. And yes, I want to give them the best education, but sometimes it comes at a cost where they walk into their classroom and they're the only ones that look like themselves. And then they start to wonder, well, why are they so different? You know, or why are people asking them more questions about their hair and whether or one thing or the other. So that lack of representation, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in the schools, or even just a board meeting. I can't tell you how many times I walked into a board meeting and I felt so out of place. Not only was I the only woman, but then the only person of color. And immediately I could just feel the blood leave my face, realizing that, oh my goodness, I have to sit in this group and I'm looking for someone to connect with, but no one looks like me, no woman in there, no person of color.
Yeah.
So that representation really, really counts.
I agree with you so much. Many people struggle with that.
Yeah.
Struggle a lot with lack of diversity, both in workplaces, in schools, in the society. And I agree with you. And I just share what you said is when you get into a place and you're like the only one, there's just this thing that kind of mentally pulls you down initially. You have to, be deliberate about like, okay, yeah. And it's across board. It really gives doubt to people. There was a time I was telling, I had a video I did some time past, I'll probably share it later. We were talking about limiting beliefs. And that has to also do with body image. And you spoke about even different things, even accents, you can say, oh, I'm the only one that speaks this way. And I felt that at the point that, I have a Nigerian accent, I'm in the place where I have so many people, white, blah, blah, blah. And my husband and I were discussing, I said, Ayo, that's why they hired you. Is that accent of yours, that experiences of yours, that peculiarities of yours, your smile, your look, everything is why you were hired. When you did 5 interviews for just one job, you went through the same accent and they hired you because they liked how you sounded. Yeah. So these are things that you will even share with us on how can people, our women, our children, our teenagers, be able to move from those limiting challenges to being overcomers and being able to thrive in confidence. You might not be through with the challenges that we have. You've mentioned 4 so far: societal expectations, self-doubts, and little confidence. You mentioned relationships and friends, how lack of socialization can affect people's self-confidence. You've mentioned lack of representation, which is so key, even in this time of COVID, mixed hybrid virtual world that we have. So please tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, the challenges are endless. Unfortunately, the challenges are endless. A couple more of that from my personal experience is just, for instance, the work-life balance. I'm a mom to 3, a wife, a mom of 3, and having that work-life balance, it takes its toll on you, and then you're not able to show up as your confident self. I felt there were times that I felt like I was really literally split in multiple pieces, and I wasn't able to give 100% of myself, not because I didn't want to, it just was not possible. And that begins after a while, it begins to erode your confidence and your self-esteem. I want to be a very present mom and be able to be home for my children, raise them, and but also show my children that women are more than just washing dishes and doing laundry. So you go to work, and then you show up at work, you want to prove to them that you deserve a seat in the boardroom and that you're qualified for the role. And then, you're just spreading yourself thin across the board. And over time, for me at least, it was eroding a part of me and not being able to balance things the way I would like. And so it was one of the reasons why I was like, you know what? I need to do life on my own terms. What brings me passion, and in doing so, give back and build myself and build others at the same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Work-life balance. And someone said there's no balance, there's never any balance. You just have to choose what you need to do at that time.
You just have to choose.
I do agree with you. As women, and even some men as well, there are a lot of challenges in trying to balance and be the best version of ourselves. But you are right that it affects women even more, because you're trying to be a mom and you're trying to work. And in being a mom, there are some times that things will slip and you're like, oh my God, am I a good mom? Oh my God, I let this sleep. Oh my God, I didn't check their homework. Oh my God. And that kind of erodes even our confidence as a mother. Then you go to work and you have to prove that even though you're a woman, you are working, you are pregnant, you have children, you are nursing, I can still perform.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a never-ending cycle. But the good thing is that I think corporate is doing a good job to get the word out there. I think they're beginning to, they have done a good job about being more supportive of the women leaders. DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion is a big thing now. So that has helped address some of the concerns. I do want to see body image, body diversity as a piece of the DEI program in corporate. So that's something that I'm working towards. But I mean, we're making steps. There's still a lot of room for growth, but it's nice to see that the world that I worked in a few years ago is evolving, it's changing, and people are more open-minded to the hybrid working, proper work-life balance and stuff like that. So that's encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely agree. So with now, like you mentioned, and I like what you just said, corporate is trying to do this, the society is trying to do that, more inclusiveness, giving women enough enabling environment to thrive. But still, you just find that many women still have the self-doubts. They still have low body image. They still are not able to take up the advantage of the system and the supports that they have. So question is, how can women, teenagers, how can they own their own brand? How can they develop the self-confidence they need to thrive? What do they need to do? In my other YouTube video that I did the last time before this, and that's why I brought you on for this real interaction with a consultant. One of it is knowing who you are and of whose you are, knowing what your worth is, knowing from your experiences, from your values, from the things you've done so far, you could actually be grateful for who you are, know who you are, know your purpose, know that you are God's own. know that God has embedded so much in you that you have a lot to offer. But there should be so many other things that a woman, a young woman, a middle-aged woman, a teenager should have cognizance of to build their confidence, their self-image, their own brand. We are our own brand, right? How can they do that? Can you talk to us quickly about that?
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked. So when it comes to body image, when I work with clients, I like to work with them from the inside out. So a lot of clients come to me initially because they see that I'm able to curate their outfits and stuff like that. But then I'm educating them that there's so much more to showing up looking good. I was one of those people who the highlight of my day going to corporate every morning was dressing up. And I liked to look good. But deep down, I was using fashion as a camouflage for some of my image insecurities. I felt like if I dressed up, I would feel good. And yes, I did in the moment. But all it took was for me to walk in and somebody make some comment about my hair, or walk into a board meeting and I realized there's no representation except me. And then all that confidence would disappear. So that's why with clients, I like to work with them from the inside out. And when I say that, I mean starting with the mindset. Like I said earlier, body image is a thing of the mind. It's what you tell yourself. You want to start your day feeding your mind with nourishing nuggets of truth. For me, because I'm a Christian, it's doing my devotional, intentionally reading God's word and feeding my mind with who God says I am, not what the world all says I am. It's about intentionally looking for positive affirmations that I tell myself. Like, okay, my abilities and my accomplishments are more important than my physical appearance. That's an affirmation that some of us have to tell ourselves every day. It's also about, your meditation. How much time do you spend meditating? For me, I like to meditate on God's word, his promises, his faithfulness. That's what strengthens my mindset to be able to go out there and tackle on the world. So again, it's the thing of the mind. You have to feed your mind with nourishing thoughts. And again, like I said, from the Bible, affirmation, meditation, those are key things. Another thing that I'm a big fan of, I encourage clients to do, is self-care. You have to practice self-care. Now, what is self-care? Self-care is taking care of yourself. It could be anything, whatever it is that brings you personal joy with no stress. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. It could be just walking out in nature, going for a walk in nature, anything that gives you a boost of confidence in yourself. It could be going for a photo shoot. It could be getting your nails done. It could be getting your hair done. Trust me, the list goes on, but you have to be intentional to take time for just yourself, not your kids, not your friends, not as a group. Go by yourself and spend time with yourself and appreciating yourself for everything that you are, physical and emotional. Another thing that I encourage people to do is to be compassionate. I think during the pandemic, again, a lot of us put a lot of stress on ourselves. I mean, it was a stressful situation for everyone across the board. And so we have to go back to that place of self-compassion. Grant yourself grace. Don't look for perfection. I think we live in a world where perfectionism is the standard. But what I tell my children is, look, I'm not looking for perfectionism. I'm looking for progress. As long as we're making progress, you're moving the needle every day, I'm good. Because over in my years of life, I can attest to the fact that I will never, ever reach the perfection, as is defined. So what you want to focus on is progress. Grant yourself grace As long as you're moving the needle every single day towards your ultimate goal, then there you go. And as you do that, as you create and achieve little goals each day and making progress, you'll be surprised how that in itself boosts your confidence. You know? Another thing that I encourage people to do is like I said, set realistic goals for yourself. It could be that I am going to set a goal to read my Bible every day, or at least, 5 days of the week. Start small. And as you achieve that, then you build upon it.
Yeah.
So those are simple things that
Atomic
people
habits.
can do. Yeah, it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
Another thing too, the very important one. How could I forget this? Friends and family. You want to be careful who you allow to speak into your life. I can't tell you how many people, clients, customers, whatever you want to call them, I have met whose image insecurities all started with what someone told them about themselves and what they chose to believe. You want to surround yourself with people who will speak the truth in love, but yet will build you up. You don't want somebody to always tell you good things. You want people to give you constructive feedback in love. And believe me, there are people out there.
Yeah.
So you want to find your tribe and surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are, love you for who you are. They're not trying to change anything about your physical ability or your physical appearance.
Yeah.
If anything, they're encouraging you, they're lifting you up. Whether it's family, friends, your church, you want to be very careful and intentional about who you let feed your thoughts and emotions. So those are, I think you should start with those.
Yeah,
and
those
then
are
take it from there.
powerful nuggets, Emma. Those are beautiful. And I love the way you're able to connect your clients and the way you've related to them to even empowering us, empowering me. I've learned from this, and even the people out there. It's so wonderful that the things you've started with is the mind. The mind is so important. And this is what you tell your clients as well. And this is what we're telling you guys out there as well. Your mindset is so important. You win the battle from the inside. You win the battle from your thoughts. You are who you think, or you are what you think. That's the word.
Yes.
So feed your mind with nourishing thoughts, positive affirmation, meditation. I am a person of faith as well. I feed my mind with a lot of things from the Holy Book. I read it a lot, so it's important. I have groups of people that I also interact with on a daily basis in prayers and meditation. And that goes into friends, families, and who you're interacting with. You are an average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. What do you start with every day? Is it with social media, with things that discourage you, or with God's word, or people that lift you up? Who are your friends? In school, at work, in your church, wherever? Who are the people that would impact you, lift you up, and even show you the good version of yourself that you are not seeing? Able to say that, oh, you've done this in the past. I believe you can do this. Or things that information you don't even have. Your network is your network. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Then self-care, physical, emotional is so important. You have to take care of yourself. Look good, feel good. That is just it. Also be compassionate with yourself. It's so important. Then progress, achieving growth. It can be little growth at a time. If you want, you could read the Atomic Habits, where you have little achievable goals, but you do them every day until they compound. It's so important. And so it's a circle. The more you do, the more you feel good, the more you achieve, the more you go back and you continue to go around. When you don't achieve anything, you also think, I can't do stuff.
Yeah.
So please, you guys, those things are so lovely. Thanks for sharing with us. Yeah. So question is, where can people find you? What are the different channels you impact people's life positively, that people can say, wow, I've been so blessed today with Nma Emeh's talk. I would like her to work with me and impact me. Please tell us.
Well, my favorite hangout where I share a lot of my information, write a lot of articles and posts, is on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn at Nma Emeh. And I'm also on Instagram. I'm growing my following on Instagram. So you can find me on Instagram saying Nma Emeh.
Okay.
And in another week or so, my website should be finally done. Again, nmaemeh.com. So
good.
Yeah, I love to chat with people. So feel free to book a free 30-minute call. Let's talk about your what's going on with you, your image insecurities or limiting beliefs, and I love to share my information and nuggets of truth about that. This has been awesome.
Yeah. So everybody, I'm going to also put in the link when I eventually post this video on YouTube. Please look out for the YouTube version as well. It's also going to be more interactive. I'm going to put the links there. You could go there to click it. Don't forget Nma Emeh. It's even on the screen, So please reach out to her. I could say for sure that to be the best version of yourself, it starts with the mind. It starts with who you think you are, and she's able to work with you. So please follow our Instagram, check out our website when it comes out. I'm happy and super excited it's going to start. Then LinkedIn is a professional platform that you could always find her. And guess what? You could also find us, Action for Teens and Mumshealth. We have our Facebook handle, we have our Instagram handle, and we have our YouTube handle. You could find us there. And also, I want to invite you to work with me as well, in speaking at your platform, engaging you, coaching your teens, coaching women on just being able to overcome the challenges that we all have as either mothers or teenagers. My goal is to help you to lead with confidence, communicate with confidence, and be able to make life-saving action and decisions in your life. So thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Definitely more stuff coming your way that is going to impact us positively. I appreciate you. Thank you. Subscribe, like, and if you've enjoyed us, share. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ma. I was so blessed to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This was absolutely fun, and I'm excited for what you started and for this collaboration and how we're going to make changes, positive changes in people's lives. So this is great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. So everybody out there, thank you. And
bye.